Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, as per the pattern of practice by the YouTube Mormon employee and the established pattern of practice this week for 3 times every other day, I have again been cyber terrorized on my computer, on my programs, on my apps. Apparently the videos I did today he was not happy with and retaliated, proving yet again the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is true because they have to commit crimes to prove it. And so that has prevented me from going over the news yet again. And apparently talking about being on TWG this morning and trying to get people to come to this channel on Travis Wayne Goodsell is what sparked his latest fury with me. Mormons are incapable of leaving other people alone. They have to force other people to take away the agency, to force other people to believe that the Mormonism is true. And so yet again, I will show you how Mormons hate the Book of Mormon and do not believe it. Hate Joseph Smith and do not believe it. You mess with me, you piss me off, and I will shut you down. And all you can do is deny and lie and commit crimes to reinforce your faith crisis. Sabbath day. In Genesis, there's the Sabbath day. And so it's talked about in other passages of Scripture. In Exodus and the 10 Commandments, there's a commandment for keep the Sabbath day holy. It's in the Jewish law, the book of Deuteronomy. Keep the Sabbath day holy. I am now going to destroy all Christianity, Islam, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Because the YouTube Mormon employee in Utah County hates you and wants you all dead. The church is planning on murdering you on the 1st of May. Hopefully, by doing these videos, it'll force the church to have to go to the next plan and schedule it for a future date and ruin their timing, as I've done before. Because on January 6, 2021, we are aware of those who went on vacation to the Capitol building to smear poop on the walls. And then the deep state Dems put in Merrick Garland, and they eventually began to prosecute people with the Insurrection Act. They did not plan for that. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who orchestrated it to happen. Sister Jessica, missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, leaked Oaks, saying he was in charge of what was going to happen. He did not plan for the Insurrection Act. They did not see it coming. They did not expect it. And then, what do you know? I was the one who informed the government, and that's why it was used. Me. I ruined the test run of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I did. They never expected me, and that was their weakness. They do not believe the Book of Mormon. They do not believe Joseph Smith, and that is their weakness. The Sabbath day is not a Jewish holy day in origin. In science, you have to use logical Socratic methodology in the development of theory tests. The theory must be testable. You can't just make claims and not run a test, or make excuses to not run a test. Well, we don't have the plates, so whenever the plates show up, then I'll be right, you'll see. Or, my God is true, just wait until you're dead, and then you will see. Jesus Christ will murder you. You just wait. He's coming. You can't use those arguments because they can't be tested. You have to give a test. If Jesus is coming, you have to give us the day and the hour. Otherwise, you're a fraud and a con, trying to intimidate or steal from other people. So the Sabbath day, let's run the test. You have to have 3 confirmations from 3 separate tests in order to establish a fact. Number 1, the Qumran community wrote the book of Deuteronomy with the law. They also wrote Genesis. The Qumran community. During the Roman period time, that's when they existed. 2, the pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians did not have a Sabbath day. Every day the temple was open. Every day they worked. No Sabbath day. Every day, technically, was a day to worship God. It was available for all people to worship any day of the week. They didn't even have a week calendar. And number 3, the Babylonians are the ones who created a 7-day week calendar. And number 7 was their unlucky number in which all people were ordered not to work on the 7th day, which shares the same spelling with Sabbath. Saboa, 7, Sabbath, 7th day. Bada book, bada boom. So, knowing this is the fact, you can go into the New Testament. Jesus talks about a Sabbath day. It wasn't practiced by the Jews pre-Babylonian captivity. It was practiced by the Jews during the Roman period of time, because the Qumran community Jews wrote it. But the Book of Mormon, begins to teach them the 10 Commandments, chapter 12. Mosiah, chapter 12. Abinadi is arrested by King Noah, interrogated by his priests, his 12 apostles. And they interrogate him as to the passage in Isaiah, and then Abinadi just rips them a new one because they don't understand Isaiah. Are you priests and pretend to teach this people to understand the spirit of prophesying, not literal history? because you need to understand that literal history of the scriptures was first established by Roman Emperor Constantine with the first creed of Christianity at the Council of Nicaea, 325 CE, which denies prophecy. And so here, the Book of Mormon, Abinadi, is telling the priests that Isaiah is prophesying, that it is not literal history. And then he then says, what are you teaching this people? We teach the law of Moses. If you teach the law of Moses, why do you not keep it? The law of Moses is the book of Deuteronomy. You know, that brass plates? Mormons will claim it's literal history and that the brass plates are real, but we don't have them, and so we have to wait until Moroni returns them to the earth so that we can check and prove that we are right. False test. Can't use it as an argument. And so in the book of Deuteronomy, there's also the Ten Commandments. And that's what he's going to go over. He is using the Ten Commandments from the law of Deuteronomy, chapter 5. And that's why he says the law of Moses. And so the first one is about having no other God but Moses for the future. That's the Jewish Christ. That is what the Qumran community is writing about. Any other claim to a Christ is false. Only the Jewish Christ of the Jewish scriptures, of the Jewish authors, of the Jewish religion is what they are talking about. And so Jesus, doesn't matter if he is literal history, even though it was the first creed of Christianity that turned the Jewish scriptures into literal history, and therefore all of a sudden Jesus is now real. Even though the first creed of Christianity says that Jesus is not real. That word homuzion, which is not a word, Constantine made it up. He took Greek letters, combined them together to make the word, and it means, by definition, not real. Sort of like supernatural. Supernatural, by definition, means not real. So, non-Trinitarian. That is the Jesus of Mormonism. Half Trinity, half non-Trinity. You cannot have that. You're still all wrong. Not real. We can keep going, because he's going to talk about the Sabbath day next. So he also talks about how you murder Joseph Smith, that will instigate the curse of Joseph Smith upon you. This shall be a type and shadow of things which are to come. Whatever you do to me will be done to you. Brigham Young had Joseph Smith assassinated, and in the same manner, Brigham Young and all of his false prophet leaders, to Monson, as I've done the videos, ran the tests, have all done. So then he continues on and talks about, continuing off where he left off, that only Moses is the Christ, not this Jesus guy who would come 400 years later after the Qumran community wrote about it. And so understand that the Qumran community, even though they're including some Greek and some Babylonian and some Roman period stuff, they're prophesying about the future, the latter days, the coming of their Jewish Christ. But they're getting it from the Egyptian documents, because pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians were Egyptian, and that's why they didn't have a Sabbath day. And so, verse 18 in Mosiah 13. It's 16. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day, the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, and thy stranger that is within thy gates. For 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all that is in them. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Okay, well, there's some numerous problems now, because the Babylonians created it. Lehi left Jerusalem 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem before the destruction of Jerusalem and the captivity of the Jews to Babylon. And if you want to say, well, maybe Mulek. No, because Mulek left at the destruction of Jerusalem by Babylon. They escaped. So they didn't know about a Sabbath day yet either. Do you not understand this? A brand new civilization, kingdom, emerges and then conquers and then assimilates them. So those who escaped did not know about the practices that the Babylonians created. And there are others, like the white master race of sheep. Unblemished sacrifices, also created by Babylon. And so the Book of Mormon is exposed as not literal history. But I just read to you that it's prophecy too. It said it's prophecy. The Bible is prophecy. The Book of Mormon is prophecy. Therefore, it's not literal history. Not complicated. And so, do we have Sabbath day in these latter days, according to the prophecies, that there would be a Sabbath day in the latter days? Yes. By who? Babylon the whore. The great and abominable church has the Sabbath day. Now these Jews were brilliant, because the concept of Purim, what you do to me will be done to you, as a type and shadow. Law of Purim, from Deuteronomy 19:19. The law. Book of Esther, Purim. And so they used Babylon to talk about the prophecies of the coming of the Jewish Christ, who would come out of Babylon to rescue those in bondage to Babylon, to return them to the millennial New Jerusalem. In the exact same manner as a type and shadow of the literal history freeing of the Jews by Emperor Cyrus of Persia. But the Jews still knew that he is not their Jewish Christ, but is a type and shadow of actual literal history this time, of their future Christ, that they gave the day and the hours of the full latter days in all Jewish scriptures, and in the Book of Mormon, and by Joseph Smith. I have sacrificed my life to warn you. I have stopped doing what I want to do with my life to learn how to make these videos, to get the apps, to get the programs to make these videos. And the YouTube Mormon employee who lives in Utah County who wants you dead has been cyber terrorizing me to shut me up and silence me so that you don't know about it, so that you don't learn the truth, so that you remain in bondage to this church who is about to murder you. As you are all waiting for not real Jesus to show up for a second coming that doesn't exist. So yes, the brass plates, not real. If you're going to call it literal history, science already says it can't be true. And yet Mormons deny and lie and refuse to accept science. Because what it means is that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable church. Babylon the whore. It means that your Christ would be a Mormon, born and raised in the covenant path of the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to save Mormons from the great and abominable Church of Jesus Christ that murdered Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith is Messiah ben Joseph. Apparently, every Mormon knows this, but every Mormon does not understand what it means. Because the Jews say that as Messiah ben Joseph, Joseph Smith is preparing Mormons for the Mormon in the latter days who would be Messiah ben David, and it therefore can't be Jesus. Joseph Smith constantly condemns Jesus and Christianity. The Book of Mormon condemns Christianity and Jesus. 2 Nephi chapter 25 condemns Jesus directly. The great spirit of the Lamanites, of King Noah, of the Zoramites, of others, Jesus, all condemned. Joseph Smith's first vision: Christianity is all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. That first creed that Joseph Smith talks about, that sent the world into darkness and confusion, the creation of Jesus. And Mormons don't believe him. He's their founder, and Mormons don't believe him. The Book of Mormon is the keystone, and they don't believe it. They deny science. They deny truth. And they hurt and destroy anyone who doesn't accept their lies and denials. So bleep you all. You're all going to die by the hand of this church. And you don't care, apparently. That YouTube Mormon employee down in Utah County is going to die by the hand of this church to thank him for his service in shutting me up. How does that make you feel?